Hi, so I wanted to share a vision that I had tonight. So I haven't had visions for quite a while now, and yeah, I felt like it was quite applicable to the journey, so I would share. So when I have visions, I tend to be, well, they're all unique, but quite a lot of the time it's kind of like I'm just pushed and I'm like shown a reality or I'm like immersed into it. In this case, I was completely immersed into it. It was like I was really, I could feel everything, sense everything. It was just so real. And it was back to um, my childhood, well, not my childhood, but my teens when I had my very first soul connection. Which actually at the time I didn't know was a soul connection. It was like an instant recognition, like a really strong familiarity and like comfort and fireworks. It was not like my awakener into like 2010, 11, but it was definitely a soul connection. But at the time, there was no internet. I didn't really have, I think internet was kind of just beginning, but it was very basic AOL, not a lot on there, and I just wasn't aware of any spiritual concepts. It wasn't spiritual at all. But looking back, I know. I mean, this person has actually kind of come back and declared feelings like multiple times over the years, despite me not having seen this person since I was like 17 or something. Um, so I went back, and I guess that is kind of where it all began. I mean, it began earlier because from a very young age, I was always aware that there is like this person for me. And when I'd go to places, I'd be there with them. And I never really had much interest in guys. And there was like this energy. I think everybody probably thought I was a lesbian, which I wasn't. I just had this energetic connection that I felt from such a young age that I knew I was meant to be with. And it was like nobody compared. And I think this was the first time when, I'd had a connection that sort of encompassed some of that. And I, in this vision, was transported back to that nightclub. And I don't know about other people on this journey, but I don't really have memories. Like all my memories are pretty much gone. Like it feels like I've had 100 lifetimes, and it doesn't feel like those experiences with this lifetime. It feels like they were literally another lifetime. So I don't really have very clear memories of anything beyond um like the last few years. But this was just so clear. I could see every single room in this nightclub, every single room. And I was running and I was desperately searching for something. It was kind of like in a film where someone's, desperately searching for somebody, and I was looking in every single room of this nightclub because it was quite a big place. And my vision was crystal clear. I remember details like the colours of seats, and this is going back like 20, like 15, 20 years. And I was just desperately running around this club, looking, searching. And then I got onto the main dance floor, and it was like I was just stood there, with my arms open, totally naked, looking up at the sky, and all this rain started falling on me, and I was trying to make sense of the vision, and I realized that it was kind of like coming. I mean, not full circle because I obviously wasn't awake then, but it felt. And then I started to get all these flashes of all the strong connections that I've had over the years, and they didn't feel like people with free will or separate people. They just felt like elements on my journey, and I was having like flashes of visions with them. And I felt like what it was trying to show me was, recently I've come into that real knowing of being the sole creator of my reality and really seeing myself as the god of my reality. And I feel this vision was representing me always searching, like searching for the person, and chasing this love and trying to find it and trying to look for it and not being able to find it. And then ultimately all these people just disappeared anyway, because I was like finding myself, like my own power. It was very much like symbolic of me coming into my power, coming into my energy, and understanding that I didn't need to play this game of searching and looking and running around and running myself in circles and crying and chasing, and which I haven't done like that to that level for a long time. But it was very much like finding that power inside, and that's all that's needed. You don't need to run and search and chase and use external things. You literally just need to come into the understanding that all the power is in you. Like the rain was falling on me, but it was also kind of coming out of me and going back up, and it just felt really pertinent that it was showing me my very first connection ever when I was like a teenager, because it was really like showing me the full circle of my journey. And I mean, yeah, I don't go into details, but I have reconnected with a strong soul connection. I don't want to label at this point, because I just don't feel like, for me, I've had a few people on my journey and I like to give things time. But I felt this coming actually for a while. I think I said in videos, but I feel like I was literally being taken full circle to where the journey began, because I do think that was the point when I really, really started pining for what I didn't know the label for then, but like twin flame. Or basically I was like pining to find myself, like the twin flame and the soul connection journey and all of this. It's just the desire to make yourself whole, but it's kind of played out through relationships and seeing yourself as a kind of hologram, or seeing yourself like projected in an outer vision, because it actually makes you do it. It's the drive, it's the way it's set up. If we didn't have it that way, then who would bother? I mean, it's if you didn't have that desire to come into union in an external projection, you wouldn't have the desire to do it in an inner way. Like, it's the way that forces us to evolve, like it's set up in that way. But yeah, I just wanted to share that vision, because that really was a big turning point for me, was realizing that the power is in here. And I mean, I've been saying it for years. I mean, you can say, oh, I'm the creator, and like, all my union is in here and it's reflected outwards. I've probably been saying it for like 5 years. But there's that moment when you really embrace it and you feel it. And I'm still kind of wobbly, because like I realize it and I claim it, and then I like fall off. And I think that's part of and stop living in the reacting to the 3D circumstances again. And I think that's part of the journey. I think it was in the Bible where Jesus had to keep everybody staying awake all the time, and like nudging them when they fell asleep. But obviously he meant metaphorically falling asleep. And so I wanted to share that vision, because I feel like there was a really strong message there. So okay, and I'll speak to you soon.